Hey, it's Joe with another episode of Synergy's Accidentally Fit podcast, where we're talking about real life situation and scenarios, and this one is near and dear to my heart, and that is how the heck can you eat healthy with kids? And more importantly to me as a parent is how the heck can I get my kids to eat healthy? So we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to dive into the reality of this situation. When we do habit challenges, one of the biggest questions from parents is what are dinners that my whole family can eat? Now, we're not going to discuss that tactical part on today's podcast because you can Google healthy dinners for families. You can Google things that are within your taste buds. But I want to empower you with the mindset and practices to be able to get them to sit down and eat that dinner or eat that breakfast or whatever it is that is the roadblock for you and your family right now. Because part of the reality is that we probably didn't have much of a purposeful food plan when we were growing up. We had that school menu, we'd circle what we'd want, and to eat what they had for school options, we'd get it, or we'd do our bag lunches, but other than that, we weren't always raised with a purposeful approach to eating, and we don't often, and that's not a knock on our parents by any means, because often we don't live with a purposeful approach to eating. We just eat when we open that fridge and see something we like, and we knowingly put things in there that aren't going to be that good for us, but it's a quick grab and go, and then we give us that excuse like, I'm so busy, I gotta do this and this. So being busy is not an excuse for eating bad, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but that is just something that we have to get through our heads, that being busy is not an excuse to abuse your body. And so let's get into how we can help our kids eat healthy, because everyone struggles with this. Every parent has to go through this because kids will prefer to eat not healthy if you allow them. That sweet stuff that is purposefully marketed and created to get them to crave more, ask for it by name, and sell more product. This morning I was walking out of my house, and it was around 8 a.m. to come down here on the weekend to shoot this podcast for you. And my son Logan was sitting on the couch eating a graham cracker. And that's not a habit that we have instilled, that you get up and you can just open the snack cabinet. And I saw my wife have to redirect him from the snack cabinet once prior to that, and then still he started his day off by eating a graham cracker. And so we're in this together. We're in this too, and I'm always working on this with my kids, but I'm going to share some things that I do with them that works the majority of the time as long as I stick to them. So our three things today: first and last, role model with a smile, and non-negotiable. So the first thing, first and last. So I've talked about this with our habits. If you want to accomplish something that's very important to you, it should be you should do something towards that, the first part of your day and the last part of your day. If you want to get healthy, the first thing you should do is get up, do something healthy, whether it's take a walk, drink a cup of water, do 10 minutes of planning for your day, meditation, 10 minutes of food planning, whatever it is. First thing. Last thing should be true too. It's not snack time. The last thing you should do is something healthy to reach your goal, whether it's go for a 10-minute walk, whether it's to journal your day, whether it's to prep your room for a good night's sleep. First and last, if it's truly important for you to accomplish, it should be the first thing you do and the last thing. And that's one of the habits we talk about with our kids, and we bring it down to the very specific level of eating. So the first thing that goes in your body will be something healthy, and the last thing that goes in your body for the day is something healthy. So we bookend the day with good habits. And so we make it practical. They know first and last. So the first thing they should be eating shouldn't be a graham cracker. It should be there. And actually, maybe Logan had this earlier before I saw him, is that they have a little spinach. I know some people cringe when they hear it, but if you blend it, they don't taste a little spinach, protein, avocado shake that my wife makes. So they know that the first thing they get will be something that has veggies in it, even though, well, I guess they don't know that part. She blends it so good. So it's a shake that they all agree that they like. They get excited for their shake time, and they know that it's the first thing they get will be that to set the base up. There's protein in it, so it helps them feel fuller longer. We're trying to set them up for success, so we don't fill them full of sugar, so they're not craving something a few hours later, that they actually are feeling more full. So the first and last habit is an important one to teach your kids. And whether it's getting smarter, whether it's getting more fit, whether it's eating healthier, they can apply that concept. Something we do is also the exercise. They have it's only about 5 minutes of exercise. The first thing they do before they can come down, before they can turn on that TV, before they can do their 15 minutes of computer time, they have their exercise, which is right now it's 10 push-ups, 20 squats, hang from a bar for 30 seconds. Not a whole lot, but it's just instilling that habit. First thing, the last thing in the evening we have a little treadmill. We do a couple of treadmill runs. It's not what I would consider training. It's what I would consider habit building. So first and last is all about habits in your kids. The second thing is role modeling with a smile. If you cringe every time there's a dish in front of you that you don't like, you are teaching your kids to do the same. It's not easy. I do it too. When someone rolls out something, sometimes I gotta almost bite my tongue and just know that I gotta put it down for my kids, so they don't see me act in a way that is gross towards just taste buds for food. So I always try to role model with a smile. It includes exercise too. It's not an eye roll, I gotta go get my workout in. And it's not a contentious, I exercise and health is on a different end of the spectrum than family time. They are on that same end of the spectrum. And if you can take that mental shift, like I get to exercise so I can bring more energy to my family. I get to exercise so I can role model for my kids. I get to exercise and eat healthy so for my own personal longevity, I can be around for my kids longer. And that's one of the reasons why I started this company, is because my father passed away when I was in high school. He was a smoker. He ate Spam. He drank almost 2 liters of Pepsi a day. He had heart disease. He had sleep apnea. And it was all self-inflicted from the choices that he made. And I am encouraging you to make the other choices. So I have seen and lived that path, and I don't want to do that for my kids. So I get to exercise with my kids, even though it throws off my own exercise program. I want to include them. I get to do that little bit of a morning routine with them. I get to do that evening routine with them. It's not a chore. It is an opportunity for me to pass something on that's so important for my family. So role model with a smile, grin and bear it, and you'll also start to develop, and this is the cool part, all the things we're talking about today on the backside are going to make you healthier and fitter and stronger and help you be around for your kids and help you give them advice when they get married. My dad was not at our wedding. He did not live that long. He wasn't around to give any advice. He was not around to meet my children. And so it's important to me that you have these habits that also keep you around for them a lot longer. The next one and the last one is non-negotiable. You have to be non-negotiable with some of these things. The morning exercise, had I said, oh, do you guys want to do a little bit of something? And then like put back and forth. No, here's what we're doing in the morning. Here's why we're doing it. And I'm going to do it with you. Non-negotiable. That's just the way it is. And they actually appreciate that time. It's not something, exercise and eating healthy is not something you do to yourself. It's not something you do to your kids. Exercise and eating healthy is something you do for yourself. It's something you do for your children. And once you take that mindset shift, then it becomes a lot easier to hold them accountable and help them along the way. So it's not a pull all the time. You have to get through that initial friction. You have to get through that initial friction with anything. So don't use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, they didn't want to. Well, no kidding. They're kids. You're the adult. You have to hold them accountable and do it with them. You don't make it punishment. You make it a bonding session. You make it fun. They get to see you do it, and then you do some things that you don't necessarily like, but for the betterment of them and the family, they gain so much more respect for you. And you can start this at any time. But listen, if they're starting later, you're going to get more friction. That's just the way it is. And you can work through it because you're strong and you're listening to this podcast. And you're the type of person that wants to make a change in your life and their life. So it's something you have to be willing to go through. So anyways, the habits we're talking about today, first and last, for you and for them, something healthy in the morning, something healthy last thing. Do it together. Role model with a smile. Do it together. Let them see that you don't like all this stuff that you have to do, but you still do it anyways. And that's the role model that you need to be with a lot of things. And the last thing is non-negotiable. You're not being mean to your kids by helping them get healthy habits, and you're not being mean, although it might seem in the moment, and they might not want to do it, and they might act out. They need this in their lives, so you are passing on one of the strongest thing you can to them. You need to set them up for success. This is our responsibility. It's something we need to take deadly seriously. And I don't use the word deadly lightly because, again, I've experienced it. I've lived through it. I've been on the other end where I've seen the habits that have led down a deadly path. So you can control so much of this by your actions today. So I didn't want to take a negative, such a harsh turn on today's podcast where I'm getting a little preachy, but I cannot feel stronger about a subject than parenting and raising your kids and doing what's best by them and for you. So let's go first and last. Let's role model the smile, and let's together being willing to hold them accountable and toe the line and understand it's something that we're doing for them. Stay strong, stay through it. There will be slip-ups. It's not easy, but you can do it. I really have faith if you've listened to the end of this podcast that you can make it. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a review and sharing it. We do not do ads on these podcasts, and all I want to do is get on and share some of the things that I've learned over the years with you, so these small habits will add up to You Are Accidentally Fit. So thank you for listening to another episode of Synergies Accidentally Fit, and I'll talk to you on the next one.